So guys, I'm gonna be very transparent as I normally always am. So I just came back from a trip. I was gone for like a week and basically like my body went through this whole like transformation thing. Give me a second. So technically what happened is I became pescatarian the beginning of this year, January. So I like cut out a lot of stuff. Like me, I cut out dairy. I cut out dairy for a while now, but I used to like cheat here and there. But now I'm like strictly no dairy. I haven't had meat in a while. So I thought it would be cute, I go on my little trip and just eat how I want to eat. Big no. Y'all, my throat has been acting up since I basically left California. That's where I was. My voice has been acting up. My face is breaking out. I know y'all see the redness, like all of this stuff. But you know what? At the end of the day, my message is still going to get across. So just bear with me. I'm going to be clearing my throat a lot. Just, yes, I drank my tea, but just bear with me, y'all. Today's message, okay, is not necessarily a message, but it's an episode where I'm going to be explaining how I got into spirituality. What were the signs that I knew it was time for something drastically to change in my life and about my lifestyle. So originally, I was born into Christianity, okay? My entire family, basically my immediate family, was very into church. I was there a lot. I was in different groups and activities. And for whatever reason at that time, of course, I was very unaware of what it was. I just didn't fit in. I didn't really feel like church was for me. Now, I'm going to put this out there as well. When I speak on Christianity, when I speak on religion, it's not to bash any religion, is not to bash anything, because I've been a Christian all my life. I just stepped into this spiritual journey. I just stepped into being more free and vocal about, my lifestyle. So don't feel like this is to say, don't be a Christian, don't follow a religion. If that's what you want to do, do it. If you want to howl at the moon, do what you got to do, but just don't bring that shit over here, period. Now, like I was saying, I was born and raised in church. So I've only known what I was told by my pastors, things that I've personally read or seen myself. And the things just never connected with me. I was never connected. As far as like praise dancing and stuff in church, I didn't agree with that either. Like, I would do it because I felt like I was forced to do it. And I wasn't happy about it, but I didn't know why. That's the thing. I was going through these emotions. I was going through these, just confusion, and didn't know why I didn't fit in certain areas, or why didn't I connect to church like other people did. And even to be so young, I see some young people that are really connected, and that just was not me. I honestly had a hard time growing up because emotionally, I just didn't know where I needed to be placed. I felt like I needed to belong just off the strength of my surroundings. The school I was going to was very like cliquey, everyone bunched up together, had different groups, and I felt like I was the outcast. And yes, I did have friends, but I just knew that something was different about me, but I could not put my finger on it. I could not identify how I was different. I didn't know why I felt like I was different. I just knew I was different. I was meant for something different, but I just didn't know what it was. Then, as years went on, I graduated from high school, and I noticed that, my life started to take a negative turn as far as relationship problems, things that I was doing, people that I was dating, people I was sleeping with. Like, I just really noticed that things started to go left for me. And it wasn't until 2020, 2021-ish when I kind of woke up, as everyone uses that term. I woke up, and I literally woke up from this negativity, this place that I was down bad, and I could never identify it. And once I opened my eyes and I really started to identify different things about myself, I started healing certain things about myself, that's when it clicked. It happened so randomly. Like little things started happening to me as far as, you know, my first instance was seeing sparkles at work. I was at work and I was just sitting there. I worked with kids at the time, so I was sitting down on the floor with the children and I saw sparkles in front of my face. And excuse me. I didn't know what the hell that meant. Like, I thought maybe I had bumped my head earlier. I'm starting to see stars. I didn't know. I thought I was going to pass out. I had no idea. So I asked my coworker, I'm like, yo, do you know what this means? This never happened to me before. She asked me if I bumped my head. I said no. And of course, who's the next person you run to? My mama. So I asked her. I called her and I explained what the hell happened. And she was like, oh, you know, like, yes, it finally happened. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So basically, when you see sparkles, and what I mean by sparkles is, imagine someone pouring silver glitter on their hand and they go in front of your face. And it's just like little silver sparkles that I was seeing. And it meant that my ancestors, my spirit guides, my angels were there to give me a sign, to wake me up, to give me a symbol that shit is about to get real. Shit is about to get real. Your life is about to transform. You're about to step into something that you have been, I guess, withheld from all your life, in a sense. Yeah. So once that happened and my mom explained to me what was going on, I really just, I don't know, things just really started happening very quickly, as far as my life was literally transforming in front of my eyes, transitioning in front of my eyes. And it was happening so fast that I couldn't really process what the hell was going on. So I was living by myself in Virginia at the time. I was working this crazy job. I didn't really like it. It was very toxic. The environment was very toxic. The people were very toxic, except for a few. And when that happened, COVID had just started. It had just hit the US, and my job basically shut down. It shut down just like any other job during COVID. So COVID happened. I moved in with my mom, and that was a big transformation for me. Going from living in one place with your family for so long, you grew up in this house, and then you move out on your own for the first time. Then to have a year later, your life transform back into this, I'm living with my mom reality. So that was a big step for me to go back to, and I'm very grateful that this happened. I am currently still with my mom, and I'm not ashamed to say it, because of the fact that I've went through some of the darkest times in my life, just learning about myself, learning about my past, learning how to deal with certain things. When your life starts to transform and starts to shift in ways that you can't control, that you can't explain, it's meant to happen. These things happen for a reason. So I feel like I was brought to stay with my mom because my mom is the one who brought me into spirituality. Shout out to you, Lisa. But seriously, she's the one who got me into spirituality. She's the one that kind of like guided me a little bit and was explaining different things to me, different methods to try, different ways to open up and really like dive deep into myself. I didn't know who I was as an individual. I didn't know who or where I was trying to go. I felt like my life was just crumbling in front of my eyes, and God picked me up and said, here, I'm going to place you here so that you can get your mental situation together so that everything else around you can fall into place for you. I remember before I even moved out on my own, my mom woke up in 2011, and like, I just remember seeing different things. Like, you know, I would come home and there would be freaking rocks in the lawn. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I remember talking to my sister, like, Okay, mom has lost it. She has a bowl of rocks sitting out in the moonlight. There's rocks lined up along her windowsill. What is going on? What is she doing? Why are we playing with rocks? I don't get it. Like, it was just a whole bunch of confusion, a whole bunch of confusion. Of course, we were taught, and it was drilled into our head that, certain things like crystals and witchcraft and, all of that stuff is evil. That's what we were taught. That's what, was instilled into us, that the color black, that 666 is a bad number, that witches are bad, that, black cats bring you bad luck, like all of these negative things about spirituality. But of course, at that time, I was very unaware of what my mom was doing. I was very unaware and kind of fearful a little bit about what she was tapping into. So I just, I kept my distance. Like, I'm not tapping into that. I'm still going to church on Sunday. I'm still praising the Lord. I'm still doing praise and worship. Like, I'm not following behind you. Now, when I moved with my mom again, and those sparkles that I saw, my life really transformed. I began to unlock certain memories that I had forgotten about. There's a thing that is like a trauma response, in a sense, like when things happen to you when you were younger, or some type of trauma or incident or whatever, you sometimes block it out. You push it so far back in your head that you forget about that incident. So things were literally coming up to surface, and I'm like, yo, I remember this happening. I remember how I felt as a child when this happened. I remember not, such and such not being there. I remember not having certain conversations. Like, all of these emotions, all of these things that were blocking my energy centers had come to light. It's hard trying to digest the things that are coming up. The things that are coming up, you think that, okay, I had gotten over it at that time, so I should be straight. But it's not about getting over something. It's about getting through it. If you're constantly having that mindset of okay, something happened, I have a heartbreak, someone, I'm grieving someone who just passed away, like anything that can be a trauma, and you tend to just get over it, it's going to continue to resurface until you heal that part, until you heal that hurt, until you heal that lack. It's going to continue to arise in your life. The spirituality, I really always thought that it was evil. I thought that it was bad. I thought that we shouldn't tap into those things because we go to church. We have, God, we have Jesus Christ. We have, the pastor who prays over us. They put, the ashes on our forehead, and they do this. And we have Palm Sunday. We have Christmas. We have Easter. We have all of these things, all of these tools to help us and guide us. And yet I still feel like I was never connected to it. It wasn't until I tapped into myself is when my life really started to transform, until I really started to grow, until I really started dropping off that depression weight, when I really started to glow as a person. You could see it physically in my exterior, how much of a change I was going through. This episode was named My Views on It Then versus Now, because back then, when I wasn't aware of the things that I was seeing, when I didn't do my own research, when I didn't ask the right questions, when I didn't, have a true understanding of what spirituality is and how it can change your life and how it can really help you heal deep down who you are, my views have completely changed. Like, I wouldn't advise everyone to step into spirituality because it's not meant for everybody. Everybody's path is different, and that's where things get fucked up. That's where it gets fucked up. We were taught that, we're supposed to walk this thin line. We're supposed to be a certain kind of way. We're supposed to do certain things. But at the same time, it's like, when do I do things for me? When do I feel free? When do I do things that make me happy? When do I do things that bring me peace and joy? When do I start my healing process? I didn't feel any of those things being inside the church. And that's just my opinion. That is not for everybody to understand, because it's not meant for everyone to understand. This is me and my journey, and I'm just taking you along so that if anybody else is feeling this way, if anybody else is feeling like they are forced to be in this religious box, or they're forced to put on this facade as if they agree with everything in religion or Christianity or whatever you practice, if you're having these feelings, if you're having these questions, you're meant to be free. You are meant for something greater. You are meant for this upgrade, this DNA upgrade. You are meant for something more amazing than what the eyes can see. It's hard to adjust and unlearn the things that we've been taught, the things that we've been doing for years, the things that our grandparents and our great-grandparents were doing. But it's like, do we ever touch the root of our past? Do we ever go all the way back until, you know, the spirituality comes to play? Why is everyone so afraid of spirituality? It's because what we've been brainwashed with. They want us to look at it as an evil thing. I can honestly say, like, I've lost a good amount of people due to me converting into what I am now, and that's completely fine. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I went through a lot of lonely times. Yes, I've cried, I've gotten angry, I've argued, I've done all types of things, because I was going through a transformation that nobody else could understand, because they're not me. So for anyone who is going through this transformation, or that is having these thoughts, these questions, these, you know, confusion situations or whatever, they're losing people, they're shedding off this dead weight of who they used to be, just know that it may get lonely. You may have people calling you crazy, calling you out of your name, calling you a witch, saying you don't believe in God, yada, yada, yada. Don't let that stuff affect you. Don't let that steer you away from what you want to do. Just because someone else doesn't understand it, just because someone else doesn't have the proper knowledge of what you're doing, just because someone doesn't agree with what you're doing, does not mean that you're evil, does not mean that you're a horrible person, does not mean that you are playing with the devil. That does not mean that you are a bad person. It just means that you wanted something higher than what everybody else can see. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you expressing your creativity. There's nothing wrong with you expressing that you want to be your own person. You do not want to follow. You don't want to be that sheep. You don't want to follow the herd. You want to create your own path. There's nothing wrong with that. I've had people call me all types of things, call me out of my name, calling me a witch, calling me whatever. Call me what you want. At the end of the day, my path is my path. It's not for anyone else to understand. It's not for anyone to feel comfortable with it. If I'm comfortable with it, if it makes me happy, if it's correcting my wrongdoings, if it's making me grow as a person, if it is making me do what I need to do, let me do that. I had someone ask me a while ago, would I ever go back? Would I ever go back to Christianity? Or would I ever just stop using crystals? Or I even had people encourage me to stop using crystals. I had people encourage me to stop doing what I'm doing. I had people tell me that, you know, the enemy has a hold on you. You need to get back to God. You need to talk to Jesus about how you're feeling and your emotions and this and that. Like, I had to take a long pause, because it's like, who are you to tell me what to do with my life? If I'm not putting no hexes on you, if I'm not wishing you no bad, you know, juju, if I'm not messing with you and what you got going on, leave me and my spirituality alone. My spirituality saved my life. My spirituality helped me grow. I wasn't growing inside the church in the pews and giving tithes and drinking the blood of Jesus. That stuff was not connecting with me. For years, I went to church. Even as an adult, I went by myself. There was times I went to church and I'm not saying that, you know, every church is the same or every pastor is the same or every message is going to be the same, because that's completely incorrect. But the experiences that I had, the conversations that I've had, the, you know, the confusion that I had, the questions that I had, it wasn't for me. And no, I don't plan on going back. I don't plan on, you know, converting into anything else. For right now, for what I've experienced, for what I'm going through, the journey that is taking, the crying, the tears, the pain, the, you know, bringing up old memories, all of that stuff, it's worth it. It's worth it to me. It's worth me going through my darkness to find my light. I was dimming my light being in church. I was dimming my light by, you know, doing certain things for the church. I found my light. I found my glow. I found my purpose in my spirituality, not in anything else, not in anyone else, in myself. I did that myself. This message was very important to me. I had to make this extensive. I had to go down the list of everything that I wrote down, because I need people to hear me. I need people to know that this is not a game. This is not a game. This is not something that you should play with. This is not something that, you know, is evil. This is something that can really change your life. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. I'm not a perfectionist. I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know every single thing about spirituality, but I'm taking you on the journey with me. I'm taking you through the experiences that I've had, because someone else out there can relate, but they're too afraid to talk about it because of what their family might say or their friends might say or who they might lose or what they might get called. Don't be afraid to be free. Heal where it hurts. Do the shadow work. Be free. Be honest. Be very honest about how you feel. Be very honest and vocal about what you're going through or what you may be feeling. Be very transparent. Be very accepting of who you were into who you are. This comes with a lot, and it's not easy. In no way, shape, or form is it easy, but it's worth it. It's worth going through all of the darkness that I did to get to where I am right now. And I'm still not where I need to be, but I'm making that step. I'm taking those steps out on faith. I'm trusting the universe. I'm trusting the ones who've been guiding and protecting me this entire time I've been going through this. I put my faith into the ones above me. And that's just it. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you really take that in and digest everything that I just said, because I know that was a lot. I know that was a little mixed up, a lot of different stories mixed up in one, but I know y'all got my point. I know y'all got my point, and I know you guys hear me, and I know you guys understand what I'm saying. So sit back, take this into consideration, give me some feedback, drop some comments. Like I said, I'm not going to force you guys to follow or keep up with every video or episode that I post, but the ones who need to hear it will hear it. Okay, I am here. You know, you can always reach out, DM, email me, whatever the case may be. I'm here, guys. This is a spiritual safe space, and I really hope you guys enjoy this message, and I'll see you again soon.